Now, where does this lead if we allow that root to grow? Let's look again at that passage in Hebrews chapter 12, because it gives us a clear and sobering prognosis for a life given over to bitterness. The writer warns that this root will be springing up cause trouble, and by this many become defiled. The trouble it causes is not just internal turmoil. It is an invasive weed that breaks through the surface and begins to choke the life out of everything and everyone around it. I recall a painful situation involving two sisters who had been inseparable their entire lives, truly the best of friends. When their mother passed away, a disagreement arose over a seemingly insignificant piece of heirloom jewelry, a small, inexpensive brooch. One sister felt she was entitled to it, the other felt slighted, and a harsh word led to a wounded silence that stretched from days into weeks, then months, and finally, tragically, into years. That small seed of perceived injustice was watered with pride and stubbornness until a massive root of bitterness grew, splitting their family right down the middle. Holidays became a strategic nightmare of separate celebrations. Phone calls went unanswered, and grandchildren grew up barely knowing their own cousins. What started as a dispute over a trinket ended up defiling an entire family tree, poisoning relationships for a generation, all because neither sister was willing to uproot the bitterness that had taken hold. Think about the language the writer of Hebrews uses, that by this root, many become defiled. Bitterness is a contagious disease of the soul, a spiritual contamination that spreads to those we love most. The bitter husband casts a pall over his wife and children, the resentful employee poisons the morale of the entire office, and the unforgiving church member can introduce a toxic factionalism that grieves the Holy Spirit. This is the tragic harvest of a cultivated grievance, a field of sorrow and division where there should be love and unity. The trouble it causes is immense, a series of spiritual, emotional, and relational brushfires started by a single untended spark of resentment. It promises a sense of power and justice, but it delivers only isolation and ever-deepening misery.